Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we are back from the brand new video, and today's video is the video we have been waiting for as it's Old Firm weekend. People, lift it, genuinely just get up because there's nothing near this weekend, there's nothing like this weekend, there's no rivalry even close to what we will witness and experience once again, ladies and gentlemen. That is of course the best game in football and it's only less than 24 hours away. Oh man, I shouldn't be recording this video as early as I am because the plums are plumping, ladies and gentlemen. But before we do carry on with the rest of the preview video, as always, if you don't mind helping the old channel out, that'd be greatly appreciated. But aye, back to the old football because I feel it, you feel it, so let's just get on with it then, shall we? And as always, we'll start off with the old oppositional preview and have a look at Celtic. And it's an interesting one to look at Celtic for the first time this season because we knew going in to this league campaign they were under a rebuilding process, things were going to change, and to be fair, a lot of things has changed with the team, but also some things haven't, because so far Ange Postecoglou has came into Celtic and added a real attacking flair for the side. That is what they go about now. They're not kind of unstructured and just go out and do your job like they were sort of under Neil Lennon, where they didn't really have a real identity when they went out there on the park. They may have relied on individual talent and moment and just sort of beating teams that way. But you can see under Ange there has been a lot of changes with the Celtic side. They build up from the back very quickly. They try and get forward as quickly as possible. They're a free-flowing attacking side, and that is the biggest change in this Celtic side than the one we've played in the past. So things have changed on one hand, but I did say some things haven't, because on the other, when you look away from all the attacking improvements and the way they go about their business and the style that they play, they still have one distinct weakness that they haven't improved at all, and that is that defence. It's still all over the place. There's still so many countless errors and silly mistakes in there despite the money that's now been spent and the additions that's been brought in to improve it, which I'll be honest with you, makes me very happy. But parking my happiness and parking my smiles and all that to one side, I did mention it earlier on in today's video, it is interesting to talk about Celtic for the first time this season, but it certainly isn't surprising. Even if you go back to my league prediction video where I was laughing at Barkas, laughing at this, laughing at that, I still said going forward they will be a very dangerous team. They will score goals and they will go on runs and make things difficult, and scoring goals for fun leads us perfectly into our next talking point because they are doing that as a team, but so is their new signing who's took to the Scottish game like a fish in water. As Kyogo comes into this game versus Rangers for the very first time, having notched up 7 goals in 8 games so far. His movement, his cleverness, especially around set pieces, will add a different threat to what I've came to expect over the last couple of years versus Celtic. He's very movement based, he reads the game very well, and every knockdown, any little ball going to the back post or anything like that is his bread and butter, and that will definitely add something different from this Old Firm than last season's ones, in my opinion. And for me, he's definitely the pick of the Celtic players to look out for coming into this game of football, especially in terms of new players, you know, making their Old Firm debuts tomorrow, because they have signed a lot of players. I mean, they've got Abada, who's a very attacking winger. He's had his moments so far. They've spent some money in the centre-back spot with Starfelt, and I've got to be honest with you, I didn't see what the money's been worth so far yet, and fingers crossed that continues. He's been very hit and miss. I mean, if you just look at his last game, his most recent game, he scored a wonderful own goal. One of them tomorrow, please. Starfelt. And the other addition, especially in terms of the defence, what they've added, which I do expect to see start tomorrow, is obviously in the goalkeeping spot, because now that's have a goalkeeper, ladies and gentlemen. But it is Joe Hart, and Joe Hart's always been Joe Hart. Fantastic shot saver, stopper, reactions, brilliant. But anything at his feet, anything coming out for it, command his area, has always been a problem, and I think you've seen that already in his short time at Celtic, where he's had a couple of wee communication problems from set pieces or balls in behind. And we talk about Starfelt making a mistake in his last game. Joe Hart had an absolute howler again. I'll take one of them tomorrow. But aye, that's the only real updates or news I've got to give you regarding their new players and who will be playing in this game that didn't play in last season. They still line up in the kind of 4-3-3 formation, but it is drastically different, and I think we'll notice that within the first couple of minutes of this game, because they've got a real high press, trying to get the ball back quickly, and their midfield takes 1 or 2 touches and then it's out to the wing or it's up to the striker. They are very quick in attacking, they didn't mess about, and that'll be something we notice right away, and which makes me think the first opening 10-15 minutes of this game is going to be vital, because we need our midfield to get on the ball, dominate and dictate the play. We can't allow Celtic to come to Ibrox and do that, because they've shown so far this season they're very dangerous when they're given time to go forward. Speaking of going forward though, that will also be an interesting battle versus Rangers because again their fullbacks go very high, their centre backs go very high. I mean it's a ridiculously high line, and if you look at the goals Celtic's actually conceded this season, some of them have been that long ball in behind, and that just gets the old plums going because I think Connor Gold's long ball out to Ryan Get-Rout to a Joe Aribo, and for me that'll be one of the things to look out for in this game to see if Ange Postecoglou actually comes out here and plays the same aggressive, recklessly attacking way versus Rangers as he has done versus the likes of Dundee, St Mirren, etc, etc, because Rangers have shown, especially in Europe, when teams try to box them in that way, they can be very, very effective on the old counter with that long ball and behind. And I think with that being said, that's me done and dusty with the old oppositional preview. Hopefully I've painted enough of the picture so we know what to expect come tomorrow's game versus Celtic and the changes under the new manager from the previous Neil Lennon. But with all that wrapped up and with all that done and dusted, it's time to flip over and talk about what matters most to all of us here, whether you're a Rangers fan or whether you're a Celtic fan clicking on today's video. It's time to talk about Rangers. And you know, son, it's very weird coming into this game from the Rangers perspective because I've seen a lot of negativity recently. I've seen not a lot of negativity about this upcoming game tomorrow, and I want to try and put some of it into context and try and explain it and try and break it down fairly, because I don't care what this media cheerleader or this cheerleader says about how incredible Celtic are and how terrible Rangers are. It's time to actually break down and put this game into perspective, because you look at it, right? Rangers so far this season has played 8 games in all competitions. They have won 4, they have lost 3, and they have drawn once, which again is absolutely stinking, and it's not the standard we've came to expect from our Rangers team. But the Celtic team that's getting talked up as this, the all-conquering, the all-incredible Celtic side so far this season, they come into this game versus Rangers having played 10 games in all competitions. They have 6 wins, they have 3 losses, and they have 1 frickin' draw. That's right, people. Nearly identical starts to the season. The only difference between both sides coming in to this game is Celtic's played 2 more games, and the 2 more games that they've actually played, they've went ahead and won. Quite drastically different when you break it down, you look at the facts of how both teams are shaping up coming in to this game, because if you just listen to the noise, you think Rangers were bottom, Celtic were clearly at the top, winning games left, right and centre, no getting close to getting beat. But that's not the case. They've lost the exact same amount of games as us, and they've played 2 more times than us. So I think we need to calm it with the negativity. I think we're building up things and we're letting noise sort of distract us. And again, going into every single Old Firm match, even last year when the league was won by October and everything like that, I still said anything can happen in an Old Firm. And genuinely, if you look at it from our perspective and how we've been playing, and again, it hasn't been fantastic, but coming into this game, you couldn't write or ask for a better chance to get your season gone with a game, because I think if you look back to last season and how we played and how all these runs we went on, that first Old Firm game was absolutely vital, because both teams were cooking at that point. Both teams were rocking, and then we managed to come away with that 2-0 win away from home at Parkhead, and then things started to change. Our chest went up and their chest imploded, and that could be the exact same here, ladies and gentlemen. So for me, I'm not getting done with the negativity, I'm not getting done by the noise. Both teams have had very similar starts to the season, and it's leading perfectly into the meeting tomorrow. And speaking of meeting tomorrow, we of course have certain players out in certain mad circumstances that obviously will play its part in the game. So let's try and discuss it then, shall we? And it should be very, very short, because as expected and as called on Wednesday, we have absolutely no information who was the positive test, who's self-isolating, who's injured, who's being rested. All we know is the list of the players that did travel for Thursday, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. There's obviously that new SFA rule, etc., where if you've been double jabbed and you get negative tests, you can play in the game, so that opens the door for certain people, but we won't know until tomorrow, and more importantly, the opposition won't know, because what's the point in us coming out and telling the fans, yes, we all want to know, but we'd also be telling Celtic, and they can plan their game plans and scheme for this and scheme for that. Let them keep guessing. And I think when you pay attention to some of the words that Gary McAllister has said, and when you hear some of the words even Stephen Davis said in his press conference, that seems to be what's going on right now. Not everyone that's missing, will be missing the game tomorrow. One of these players that I'm pretty sure we will see tomorrow, if he can come over the old injury, is Mr. Ryan Kent, who will be vital, as he always is, versus Celtic. He is the perfect kryptonite for their Superman. Whenever they think they're playing well, Ryan Kent seems to take the ball and goes ahead and day sun. But as we talked about just the other day, it wasn't anything COVID related. It was because of his hamstring and he was getting rested for it on Thursday. And fingers crossed he's able to play, because that will be massive for us, especially considering how attacking they are with that long ball and the connection that Goldson and Kent has. That could be a real weapon for us all afternoon. So fingers crossed we see Mr. Kent in the old starting 11. The rest, ladies and gentlemen, we had absolutely no update on both Ryan Jack and Fashion Sakala, who has been edging closer and closer. There was no updates given on them either, but I wouldn't be surprised to see either one of them on the old bench tomorrow again. On the Sakala side, down that right hand side, or even leading the line as an option for the bench. He's perfectly suited, and it just seems to be annoying that we can't start planning that in our mind, because if we had Ryan Kent, Sakala and Scotty Wright all good to go, I'd be very confident about attacking the Celtic back line with how they play. But it seems to be all the quickest players that we've got are kind of in limbo right now, and that's frustrating. But aye, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I can't give you any more information than that, unfortunately. I know there's a lot of rumours out there about this and this and this, but we know what all that is. It's guesswork, and you throw enough darts, eventually you'll hit a bullseye. So let's ignore all the noise, ignore all the rumours. We won't know the truth until the team lineup comes out tomorrow, and I just hope there's a wee ace up the sleeve and we see some players returning to this starting 11. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That is the latest team news. That is the Rangers conversation. I just wanted to break down the tie as well, because there's this kind of weird cloud that's following us right now, and it seems to be we're terrible, they're great, and for me, it's not that at all. But aye, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We know what we want to see tomorrow. We know what these players are capable of doing tomorrow. Now it's over to the players to go out there and fight and battle and give that extra 10, 15% from the first whistle to the last, and do what they did all season long last season, this season, and that is of course beat Celtic. Before we do wrap up today's video though, we do have one last thing to do, and that's the impossible. Ladies and gentlemen, predict the Rangers games, which are hard in itself, but especially when it comes to the old firms, it's ridiculous. My batting average is stinking right now, troops. But let me know the experts in the old comments. What's the game going to be tomorrow? Break it down there, and I'll be speaking to you shortly. We should hopefully getting your opinions and your predictions out there on the game. I'm going to back my team, and I'm always going to back my team. I mean, that's what you should be doing. I am going to go with Rangers 2, Celtic 1. I do think it's going to be an interesting back and forth battle, but I just believe we'll turn it on. I just believe we'll get the job done. And I do think Kamal Roof's going to be absolutely massive in terms of in front of goal, putting the ball in the back of net. But my star player and my player to watch is going to be Joe Aribo, because if the players are out the way it's looking like they could be out, he's going to be playing in that advance role, maybe on the right wing, etc. And that's going to be a massive area that we need to win, because Celtic so far have shown they are weak down the left-hand side at their left-back area. They do leave a lot of gaps. I mean, they allowed a back post tap-in versus AZ just a couple of days ago, but the guy missed it from a yard out. So Joe Aribo could be the one to unlock the door, and he's my player to watch from the Rangers perspective coming in to this game tomorrow. But before all that being said, I'm knackered, I'm sore, I'm not going to sleep at all the night. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have been Siege Over 92. That has been a sleepy Rocky Boy Johnson. But until next time, take care of yourselves, all the best. I'll see you after the game, and bye.